Welcome to the Find Your Flow podcast. Hello and welcome to Find Your Flow. Courtney Miller, thank you for being in the studio with me today.
Thank you for inviting me. I am super glad to be here.
So I have one question to kick us off before a conversation about a subject that I didn't even know existed. So I'm super excited. Let me just ask my one question because I feel that moves the energy for both of us. What does Find Your Flow mean to you?
Find my flow. What is it? Well, what it means to me is how can I create movement where there's stagnancy? And what I do to do that depends on what area in my life where I'm experiencing stagnancy. Like if it's in the work area, stagnancy is usually because of blocks, and blocks in my work area are usually open loops that I need to close. Oh yes, I'll get this email to you by whenever. Or, oh, I'll finish this project by whenever. And then life happens, and then you find that you have these open programs, so to speak. That's how I call them in my mind. And so I'm like, okay, Courtney, time to close some programs, and then I'll let go and, finish things, complete things. And that always, always, always works for me, when I'm talking about when I'm thinking about creating flow in my work life. In my personal life, which these days it's hard to separate sometimes, right? Our
Oh,
personal life and our work life, they're pretty integrated for a lot of us. But when I feel like the block is coming more internally, like personal, like my relationship with myself, what I really need is solitude and time in nature. So I'm super blessed to primarily live like in Malibu, West Coast area. And so for me, that can be going for a walk. There's a lot of places to go hiking out there. I can go walk on the beach out there. That always creates flow for me. And then when I'm in the East Coast, even though it sounds crazy, I love walking in New York City, even though it's like complete opposite. So I'll just go for a walk. I'll go to Central Park, even walking in the neighborhoods. And that shifts me. That shifts me. That's like at a place where, because, I do a lot of meditation, a lot of breath work, all of that stuff. This is like getting down to the root. Like, I don't have the willpower to meditate. I don't have the willpower to do my breath work. I don't have the whatever. It's like, okay, Courtney, just put one foot in front of the other and just start moving.
New York is its own vibe. I would
I love
love,
it.
oh my God. So it would be super interesting to know your astrocartography. I'm doing this deep dive into astrocartography based on our astrology. Where are these different lines within our astrology and
Mm.
what do these different areas in the world offer us? Be so super curious to see what Malibu and New York, what lines are they for you? That would be, I love New York.
Yours
In
is.
small doses, I love New York.
You sound like my mom. She's like, it's a great place to visit, Courtney.
Yes.
But I lived here for a while before I moved to the West Coast. And I was like, how am I ever going to leave New York? It has to be someplace completely different because
Yeah.
nothing compares. And I'm
No,
like,
nothing.
oh, the West Coast is completely different. So,
That's a 180.
yeah.
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah, New York is one of those, literally, when I hop off the train and I'm out there, because the train station is right there in Times Square, and when you walk out, you literally feel the vibration through your feet.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you could be deaf and blind and it wouldn't matter because you're going to feel the frequency of New York City, of that, oh, I could do anything. Like, it's just this
Yes.
invigorating energy. And DC for me is similar to that, in that it's a very revolutionary energy for me. And we lived in DC for a while. And when I was there, I was like, "Yep, it's time to remake my entire life. Yes, yes, let's do this. We can take it on." And then New York just gives you the courage to go off and do it
It
all
does.
regardless.
It really, really, really does. It's funny you brought up the astrocartography because you're the third person who's talked to me about it in 3 days. And I'm
Stop
like,
it.
I am going to have to find out my astrocartography.
Okay, so there's an episode on the podcast with my guest Faith Grace, and
Okay.
that's her real name. Her first and last name is Faith Grace. I
Wow.
mean, come on now. And she talks about the astrology of money, the astrology of your place in the world, and
Mm.
she starts to give us an introduction to astrocartography. And actually, in a couple of weeks, we're doing a very specialized episode just on astrocartography.
Ooh, I can't
So,
wait. I will
yes.
definitely listen. It's,
And she's going to take us through how to find it, how to find our
oh my
charts, how
gosh.
to read our charts, like all the things. So, definitely keep an eye out.
Amazing. I will. I think one of the reasons why it's so good you're bringing her on because it's a big question for people because there's so much change right now
Yeah,
with the end of Uranus in Taurus, like shaking up where we've been stable or grounded or where we think we've been grounded and like shaking all that up. And then it's going into Gemini next, and which is going to be, it's air. Gemini's air. So more
oh,
movement, more shake up. It's like opening our
untethering.
eyes to everything. It's like, oh, am I living where I want to live? Am I living
Yeah,
in a place that's good for me? Am I doing what I need to be doing in this world? Like, we are all, whether you're midlife or not, I feel like we're all going through the equivalent of a
agreed.
midlife crisis.
Agreed. Agreed.
Questioning everything, right? Reevaluating everything.
Everything. This whole even planetary, this planetary rebirth, and we see it all, right? In tsunamis and tornadoes and earthquakes and fires. We see all of this slash and burn,
Yeah.
in old farming terminology, where everything is sort of being killed off to be reborn. And we're here in the very middle of it all. So it makes sense that humanity, in a very general term, is experiencing a midlife, regardless of your age.
Yeah.
We have no choice. If you live on this earth and at some point are barefoot, you're going to feel it. Like, and I mean, that's just the rules of the world right now.
Yeah.
So to have as many tools as possible, I think, which is why I've been called to do this podcast, to be able to introduce as many tools as possible to humanity.
Mm.
These things exist, everybody, and not everything is going to work for everybody. So to know your options is a wealth of knowledge. To build your toolkit to
Yeah.
get through the difficult hours, minutes, days, weeks, months, I think it's
Years.
invaluable. Years, right? I
Yeah.
think it's invaluable.
No,
It's
it is.
funny.
It
You
is.
had said that you like to close these loops in your professional world. And I was actually out for a walk on a new hiking trail my husband and I discovered. We try to go out every single day in search of a new trail. We're in Pennsylvania. We just moved here. We have no idea what's around us. So everything is an exploration right now. And yesterday we found this river that narrowed and became a stream. And then we kept walking, and I saw a branch of it and went down towards it and noticed that the branch stopped. And there was this huge dam there.
Mm.
Trees had fallen, debris had gathered. And so when you were talking about trying to close loops, I thought that how beautiful that if our life is about flow and our life is about finding the flow of continuous stream into river, into ocean, back into valleys, right? If we're
Right.
meant to find all of this and happen to find ourselves on a branch that goes breaks away from and
Hmm.
then hits a dam, What can we do about that? Because I think that's where a lot of us find ourselves right now, at this branch
Um,
of water, right? And we're like,
right. So
what in the holy hell
that's a
are we
little
to do
bit
now?
different. Yeah, that's a little bit different. For me, when I say closing loops, I think of it in terms of like my energy, because I know we need energy to do anything, and
Yeah.
flow and movement takes energy. So I feel like when I'm stuck in my work aspect of life, it's because I'm losing energy somewhere. And
Yes.
so for me, the stuck in work, I have to complete so that I can like close that hole where the energies, where I'm losing energy, that returns the energy back to me. And also a completion creates a space for a new beginning.
Yes.
So that's why that's so effective. And that's how I always know when things start to slow down in work. I'm like, okay, I'm getting things built up that I actually need to complete.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
example you're talking about, like you go off and you find a branch of a river and you end up in a dam. I mean, there's two options, right? You can remove the branches that are blocking the
Mm-hmm.
flow,
Mm-hmm.
or you can turn around and go back to the main river. And you can say,
Yes.
okay, that was a nice detour.
A nice detour. It was beautiful. Now can we get back?
Yeah. And there are things in life like that where we absolutely have detours that we have to take, you know,
Yeah.
because there's a lesson there for us. There's
Yes.
a process of expanding our consciousness, and we have to have that experience. And then we're like, okay, I'm ready to go back to the group. I'm ready to reconnect with the bigger. I'm ready to like reconnect with my bigger life, or, you know.
Oh, I love that, because I think a lot of people come up to the dam and they go, well, shit. Courtney, I really hope that you don't mind if I curse.
It's okay.
And
It's
if you
okay.
do, I will endeavor to censor.
No, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
But I think they do. I think that a lot of people come up against the dam and they go, well, shit. Do I break it down? Do I go over it? Can I go around it? It's too big. It's too debilitating and depressing. And they sit and they find themselves in this muck and mud and stench, and they don't quite know how to get out of it, because if you hang out there long enough, it becomes a quicksand and it builds up
Oh,
around you and
yeah.
pulls
You
you
get
down.
habituated to it and you forget that life is different and that life
Yes.
doesn't have to be like that anymore. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, there is something because of the lessons there. I mean, I really, really, really believe in all the different teachers I've had. Like, the essence of life is spirit. And so everything that happens and that comes to you in your life, whether you like it or not, has a message for you.
Yeah.
And the only way to be able to move forward is to get that message. So there's a certain amount of time you might have to sit in the stench and the this and the that. But like you say, you don't just sit there because you're sitting there because you give up and you don't know what you're going to do, and you like take a passive approach. No, while you're sitting there, your question is, what is your message to me? What is your
Yeah.
message for me? What is your message for me? And maybe the message is, hey, like this water needs to go downstream to water, blah, 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 blah. And you're the
Mm-hmm.
person that actually needs to step forward and like remove the debris and remove the old leaves and remove the whatever. Or maybe, you know, there's so many different messages. But I have to say, usually the message for me is it's like, I don't, did you read A Wrinkle in Time?
Oh,
The
yeah.
book? Yeah. So there's a moment where the main character, Meg, is like, why does it have to be me? And she's like,
Yes.
because it has to be you. And so honestly, anytime I get into what you call the stench of things or the whatever, the muck of things, it's because it's a place where I'm not, or I haven't been willing to say, okay, it's me.
Yeah.
And whatever amount of time and process and this and that that has to go through so that I can get to that point where I'm like, okay, it has to be me. That's, you know, that's the message. Because at the end of the day, life is showing us that we're co creators. And we all have different experiences. We all have different childhood. We all have different lineage stuff. We all have different whatever. But it really does come down to that same ultimate final message. You are the co-creator of your life. And
Yes.
yeah, you might have to take the high road because the other person isn't, or you might have to step
Hmm.
forward and put in more energy and sweat and blood and tears because people around you aren't. But it's because this is your life. You are the center of your universe. You are born to be the leader of your universe and of your world. So it will always come down to that. Even if it's like, okay, I have to be the one to forgive. I have to be the one to accept.
Mm.
I have to be the one to drop the past. We have to be the one. And it's a little bit like what we were talking about right before the podcast, right? Now we were joking about how, okay, we're moving into full stoic mode.
Yes.
What can we control? Ourselves. That's the only
Yes.
thing we can best give direction to, and that we have autonomy over our choices about, you know?
I love that. The only thing we can control is ourselves, which brings us back to the only thing that we can really heal is ourselves. We're not
Yes.
responsible for anyone else. We can't drag anybody with us, certainly can't carry anybody with us. So that brings me to
You can try, but it gets
harmonium.
very heavy.
It gets, I mean, like to a ridiculous level of what is happening and why am I doing this and how in the hell did I get here?
Yeah. Wait, why did I decide to take responsibility for this other person? This other grown person
This
who
other
has.
grown person. But that brings me to harmonium, which I had
Mm,
never heard about. And here's the thing, listener, this is how that divine intervention works and how it all comes together. Because I don't know how I got on this mailing list. There was no signing up. There was no reason for me to be on it, and yet I got this email talking about a modality called harmonium. And the essence of the email that really drew my attention and screamed at me to reach out to Courtney to see if she would be my guest on here was there's no coincidence to the day that you were born. Now, I had heard a lot about astrology, astrocartography. Like I'm doing a deep dive into all of that. I find that to be fascinating. There are episodes dedicated to astrology on the podcast. I had never in my life heard about the day of the week. And here's what's interesting to me. My whole life, my parents, my dad especially, made a very big deal about my being born on not just a Sunday, but on Easter Sunday.
wow.
Right? So I've sort of known, and growing up in Catholicism, getting all of your sacraments and all of that, everybody around me was like, oh, wait, whoa, you were born on Easter Sunday? Here, you're going to crown Mother Mary. You were born on Easter Sunday. You get to carry this. Like, so I kind of grew up knowing that Easter Sunday was sort of a big deal, but I thought only in my religion would it be a big deal? But then something else inside me. And when I say something else, I'm talking about this line of energy inside me that goes from my heart to my solar plexus, shakes when I consider that I was born on Easter Sunday. Now, to me, it feels like a harp string. It sounds like a harp string. It reverberates like a harp string. So that to me it says, well, that's kind of important, Lisa. So here I am with you, Courtney, to learn about this word harmonium and then to kind of dive into what in the hell is it? I'm so curious.
Okay. So this is like one of my favorite topics. I'm like, let's go. Let's go. Um, I'm kind of going to give a little bit of a roundabout answer because I also want to include what you had said had like brought you to it. This idea of like the day of you're born on being important. Um, the day you're born on is important because it's the first of the 7 karmic influences that you can actually observe, study, and use that understanding and knowledge to be able to free yourself from genetic and lineage, spiritual, karmic lineage that you inherit by coming
Mm.
into this planet Earth. So the day of the week that you're born on is super important in the wisdom that harmonium is comes from. Um, this wisdom goes all the way. It passes through Judaic Kabbalah. It goes all the way back to Egypt, and then it goes back beyond that to Atlantis and Lemuria, and
Hmm.
it goes back to the beginning of time. And
Even to when days of the week did not exist?
yes, even to when days of the week did not exist, this harmonium. I know it sounds interesting. I'm like, oh my gosh, which door to enter into here?
Just enter any of them and take me through the labyrinth.
Okay, okay. So let's just start off with this. Very, very simply, harmonium is a healing modality that has many different techniques, but ultimately, harmonium is a healing modality to disconnect you from the trauma of your past, your of this lifetime and your inherited lineages, and to expand and raise your consciousness. Because on this planet Earth, in this incarnation, that's what matters. Your
Yeah.
evolution as a human being. So harmonium is here to support your evolution as a human being. And it does that primarily by bringing to light our belief systems and things that we've inherited, our mental tapes that are buried in our subconscious and unconscious mind, by bringing those into the light of consciousness. So it's like talk therapy, but it goes like way, 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 way beyond that. Because with talk therapy, you can only talk about what you're conscious of.
Yes.
This allows you to bring up the programming and the mental tapes that are driving and feeding your conscious mind. Somebody says it like the thought behind the thought. And you become aware of the thought behind the thought, and then it's huge aha. And then you can then you can take advantage of neuroplasticity. Then you can
Mm.
take care of neurogenesis because then you know what you're dealing with. Like, if you want to use this metaphor, it's like practically impossible to win a fight with an invisible sparring partner. It is much easier to win a fight with a visible sparring partner. So, I mean, the odds are really stacked against you when you're
If you
talking
can't
about.
find what you're feeling or what you're fighting.
Exactly. And we know that because that's what we call being in the mud, right? You're in the
Yes.
mud. You don't know
Yes.
what it is. You don't know why you're there. You don't know why life is deteriorating like this or why you're spiraling out. You don't know what the cause is. Harmonium addresses this. And most recently, we have a technique called harmonium trauma release, which actually helps create a clear slate, like a blank slate. It literally neutralizes the traumatic neurological patterning. The neurological patterning that your mind and body created around your experience of that traumatic
Hmm.
event. It
Hmm.
clears that to the point that I'd had a session, and because if you're giving it, you need to be receiving it too.
That's yes. Yes.
I'd had a session, and like a week or two later, I found myself in a situation that would have been triggering, and I would never have called it that. I didn't even know that I was about to be reactive. I just thought it was a normal conversation in life. And then I went to say something in response, and I was aware of my brain looking for the answer that I thought would be there, and it wasn't there. My
Wow.
brain was a blank. It was like you have file cabinets in your mind, and my brain went for the file, and there was nothing in the file. So number one, that's how I realized I was about to do something that was reactive and like
Yeah.
internally programmed because I wasn't even going to think about it. And two, I was like, damn, I was like, harmonium trauma release really works.
That is
Because,
fabulous.
and then in that moment, I was like, this is the experience of what sages and mystics call having an original thought, not a thought that's a result of all the
Oh,
programming in our mind. Because in that moment, I recognized, like, whoa, what I was going to say, I don't even know what to say. My brain can't even formulate it
right.
anymore. And then number two, what am I going to do? Because I don't have a reference
Now what?
anymore. Exactly. And this is like a moment of consciousness, right? This is a moment of pure consciousness where you're like, it was wild. And so this is what harmonium does. And we have different techniques and they get you there in different ways. But the whole thing of harmonium is to disconnect you from the past that doesn't work for you, that didn't work for your generations before you, that will not work for you in the future. I mean, sometimes people have like interesting situations after they get a harmonium, and they'll be like, I didn't think this was going to happen after I got a harmonium. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to remind you what we talked about, which is harmonium. If there's something in your life or in your body, like the seeds of a disease or something, or in
Yes.
your mind, if there's something in your life that's going to create more problems for you further down the line, when you receive harmonium, it brings it to the surface now when it's not going to wreck your life, when
Yeah.
you can handle it much better, so that it saves you from what your future could have been or would
Sure.
have been, honestly, because we're, life is mathematical. If you have these thoughts and you're taking these actions and you have these habits and these behaviors,
Yes.
eventually, even though you can't see in the moment that eating 5 candy bars a day is a problem, and then, eventually you will see that's a problem.
I love that you brought it down to something so simplistic. And it also addresses the fear that I think a lot of people have with different modalities, which is I see it, I would see it even with something as benign as Reiki.
Hmm.
And well, what are you opening up and what are you stirring up and what are you breaking free? Well, not me, first of all. It's really you and divine that comes together to create what you absolutely can process right here, right now.
Yeah.
Instead of, um, for, for most, that physical ailment that is maybe 5 years, 10 years down the line,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or the mental break that is 5 years, 10 years down the line.
Exactly. And because harmonium is like we call it like the healing branch of divine spiritual wisdom, we have a yogic branch, and then we have like a practical wisdom branch, which is like the proverbs, the wisdom, the laws of nature, the 7 creative planets, like the day of the week you're born on, that kind of stuff. They all work together so that when you're going through this process, you're like, you have even more tools than just the harmonium in and of itself. I can give people, any harmonium practitioner, who can give you a breath work, can give you some wisdom to work with, can help you, support you in so many different ways when you're addressing it like this ahead of time.
Yeah. And I love the layering of different modalities. So there's another listener, there's another sort of patterning that needs to be broken. And that's that belief that there's a magic bullet, and
Yes.
right. And so if a practitioner tells you that they are in possession of the magic bullet, that they have a magic wand, that they can make it all disappear in one fell swoop with one modality, um personally, my experience has been to maybe steer away from that. And I say that because you are not the same person in 5 minutes as you are right here, right now. So just because maybe you process the surface of whatever it is that is challenging you, that doesn't mean you're not going to revisit it.
Well, I'm really glad you brought this up, because what we share and educate our practitioners that go through our certification programs is like, there is no shortcut. And that's why the
Say that
message,
again. Oh,
there is no shortcut. And that's why the message when you're sitting in the mud always is, it has to be you. And so anybody who's saying I can take this away, can they? They may very well be, because people have different spiritual powers. People have different whatever.
yes.
They could be medical intuitive, this, that, and the other. Yes, people can do things and they can give you immediate results. However, one of the things we talk about in Harmonium is that Harmonium gives you permanent healing
Yes.
because it raises your consciousness and you make the change. Otherwise, if I'm a healer and I just remove the symptom from you, then it is going to come back, because it's like a
Absolutely.
long time ago, they used to make photographs using negatives and in the light room and stuff like that. It's like you're doing something to the actual photograph, but you're not doing something to the negative. And as long as the negative of the photo is there, you can keep reprinting. Your body will
Absolutely.
keep reprinting it. If it's in your psyche, if it's in your mind, if it's in your neurological system, it might go dormant. And people see that with like complex diseases and cancer and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. They'll be like, oh, remission, oh, I'm good. And then 5 years later, somewhere else, or 7 years somewhere else.
Right.
It's because the negative of the photograph is still in the psyche. And so that is for me, because I got into this super young. I started this whole journey in like 1991 with Iyengar yoga
Oh,
and my Turkish Sufi Iyengar teacher. And he was a model for Iyengar when Iyengar came on his tour to US. So I've always also been very blessed to have teachers that have pure, authentic lineage.
mm.
So I've been doing this since I was a kid, practically, and it fascinates me how the body really is. It's a duplicating machine. It duplicate your cells copy your mind. And now I've lived long enough to look at the places in my life where I'm like, I've had highs, I've had lows, I've had whatever, and I can see what my mindset was, in
Mm-hmm.
those different ages, and I can see when my mindset changed, how long it took for my cells to copy it, to create that
Yes.
reality.
Yes.
And then I
Yes.
can see, okay, so this is actually a real thing. And now I need to turn it around. Now I need to change my mindset again, And then you start to see it happening. And then you're like, yes, this is how it works. This is how it works. And
I
so
mean,
you
listeners,
have,
I don't know if you know, but our human cells change over every 7 years. We are
yes,
brand spanking new people every seven
yes.
years.
This
It's
is
a
why.
7 year cycle, everyone.
And some are reborn, like some organs like have had
Yeah. Oh,
multiple
very
versions in the
quickly.
7 years. This is
Yes.
why I don't know, this might sound naive or controversial, but this is why I don't believe in aging, so to speak.
Okay.
Because
So I am right there with you.
I'm like, if
I'm
my
right there
cells
with you
are new all the time,
all the time. It's what are
why
you
can't I
replicating?
just regenerate? But so this goes back to what we're saying. They are duplicating. Your new liver every 7 years is a copy of the liver you had before, which is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
result
Yeah.
of your thoughts and what's in your cells, and specifically your subconscious and your unconscious thoughts.
Yes.
So until you change your unconscious or subconscious thoughts, your cells are not going to change, which means your liver is going to keep duplicating the liver that's going through the process of entropy, so to speak,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So this
Yes.
is where harmonium is absolutely amazing. It activates the blueprint of your original cell.
Okay. So,
I mean, I don't want to tell you how old I
holy
am,
God.
but I told everybody, I'm like, when I'm 100, I'll let you guys know. That is what harmonium does. Harmonium duplicates the original cell.
So
And
here's
so,
the thing.
yeah,
I'm 53 years old, and people
beautiful.
always tell me, "You do not look 53."
Yeah,
And I
you look
say, I
30 or
am
you look whatever. Yeah,
eh,
yeah.
right, right. And I'm like, "Well, listen, I am extremely grateful to be here at 53. I'm extremely grateful to actually be feeling healthier every day.
Right.
And it is an absolute testimonial to all of the work that I do for my self-care. all of these different modalities, this buffet of healing that I show up to every single day going, what looks good? And I pick and choose, and this is what I bring into my world, into my body, into my mind, into my soul, and it really does change everything. So
As
I get compliments all the time saying it looks like I'm turning back time, because I am. Thank yes.
yeah,
And yes, my answer is being.
yeah.
Um
And by the way, I don't have anything against aging, but
no.
the thing that I'm thinking about is because, like, I mean, we get wisdom the longer we're on this planet, right? But it's like, how do we have to move? How do we have to go through the process of time?
Yes.
Do we
Yes. Does
have
it
to
have to
go
be
through the
miserable?
exactly, exactly? Do we have to get increasingly limited in our physical body? Do
Yes,
we ha
exactly.
do we have to, do we really have to do that? I don't think so.
I don't believe it. I mean, you listen to people who say, God, everything changed in my 30s. And then it was hell in a handbasket by 40. And by 50, I was just, forget it. Well, I'm closer to death than I am to being alive. Like, those are the things that you hear, which are just words manifesting the fear, right? Of,
Yeah,
well, now I'm on very limited time. And I just sort of felt like, well, first of all, when my human body is done, I know that the human body was never designed to last forever. I
right,
got it.
right.
Check. But it was also designed to heal.
It is, and it is always healing. And this is also what we say in Harmonium, because it's very important for us when we train our practitioners that our practitioners have the bigger picture and that this natural humbleness and humility comes because you're like, who's doing the healing? There's
Right.
only one healer. There's only one. You can anthropomorphize it if you want, or not. You can just say there is this life force that's flowing through all
Mm-hmm.
of life and organizing all of life, and it is always it is always healing. Whether it's coming as the
Always.
god Shiva or whether it's coming as the god Brahma, it is always
It could
healing.
be my coffee table. I don't care. It's divine, period.
Right. Because, and this is the proof. Like, you know how kids, I mean, I think most kids get stitches at some point in time. I know I did. I know when I was a day camp counselor, pretty much all the kids there were like, yes, I've had stitches. So what happens? You get stitches, but the stitches aren't doing the healing.
Right.
The doctor says, come back in 2 weeks and we'll take out the stitches. You're like, oh, yay, thank you, doctor. But the doctor didn't do that. I mean,
No.
thank God somebody's there to, like, you know what I mean? You don't run a
Right.
gaping hole.
Make it
So
easier for
we're
sure.
helping, we're helping. But the actual healing is this incredible divine intelligence that sources all of life. And I just don't think people, when you ask people, do you believe in God or do you believe in something bigger than you or do you whatever, God, because of all the wars and all the this and the that, there's a lot of political
Yes.
baggage
Yeah.
for people. And I get it. I am blessed to have had a background in raising up where I'm comfortable with the word God. I don't think of all of these other things when I say it, so I can
Yes.
say it. But I do understand it's not that way for a lot of people. So whatever word that is, however you think of it, it exists. And I don't think people stop to think about it enough because we think like, oh, I went to the doctor gave me medicine, I took the medicine, and so now I'm well. No.
Yes. Like the medicine did it.
Yes, but it's
Not
not
the
the
medicine
medicine
helped your body do
is
what your body
exactly,
needs to do.
the medicine is
The
like this,
doctor did it.
this,
Not the doctor helped my body
exactly,
do what it's supposed to do. Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
There is in the laws of will, the Hermetic laws of will, there is a saying, there's one of the laws says, failure is a matter of not understanding the conditions required for success.
Ooh.
So when
Oh,
you
I
don't
love
take
that.
care of yourself and then you experience poor health, it's because you didn't understand the conditions required for health.
Yes.
And so we're talking about like, oh, you have a gaping cut. Yes, it will be really good for you to have that stitched up.
It'll make it a shit ton easier for your body to heal it.
Yeah, so you're giving yourself the conditions you need for health, but we can't confuse the conditions with the actual force that's
Yeah.
causing it to all happen,
Well,
you
isn't that
know?
interesting? Because I think we've been sort of trained to hand over our autonomy to others, right? So even our well-being has been handed over. It's beyond my capacity to own my well-being, so I give it to a practitioner. I give it to someone like you. I give it to a doctor. I give it to whatever, a surgeon or whatever you believe in, into a priest, to a rabbi, to anyone. As
Right.
long as it's not me, I hand it over to somebody else
Yeah.
because I can't do it. But I love that harmonium flips it all to bring it to the forefront that it really is you.
It really is you. That's why we call it self-healing, and that's why we call it permanent healing. And it took me a while to understand because I'm like, self-healing? No, they have to like come, they get on the table, I give them harmonium. What's the self-healing? And then the more you like get into it, you're like, oh, I'm an intermediary. I'm just part
Right.
of creating the conditions for the divine intelligence to awaken in this way, in this
Yeah.
person, so that the divine intelligence that's the life force of all the organizing principle, the generative and organizing and destructive principle can flow again in this person. Really, it really
Yes.
is. It goes back to your original question. Harmonium reestablishes the flow in a human being. So I could have said when you asked me how do you find your flow, I was like, well, should I tell her I get harmonium? And I was like, or is that too ingratiating? So I was like, no, no, no. But that is what harmonium does.
But that's so, and I love the duality of your answer. The answer that you gave, right, is that definition of flow and how do you find it? So you have to start with the definition of flow. What does flow mean to you? And then what does finding your flow mean to you? But now we get into the how, and that's why I love these conversations. The how is where there's so much magic.
Yeah,
The what is just sort of this beautiful connection of sharing with me and with listeners a different way of maybe seeing a situation in life, seeing my life, seeing how I'm showing up. Wow, does that align with your definition? Do you inspire me to change the way that I perceive my life? And now we get into the nitty gritty of how. And I just think that that's where all the magic is.
it is. And I have to tell you, my whole life, I'm very pattern oriented. And I always believed it is possible to change because how we show up, it's just patterns. And so I've always been fascinated with patterns, cycles. How can you start a new cycle? And when I found harmonium, I was like, this is what I've been looking for my whole life. Because I mean, when I was little, I was like, I'll be a pediatrician and then I will be this. And like, I have two kind of paths. I was like a dancer, a musician, and a classical guitarist, and an opera singer. I had that going on. But then I also had this like healing drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I
All, by the
discovered,
way, the same parts of the brain.
okay,
So
that
it's
makes
not
sense.
really all that
Okay,
different
that
because
makes
it's
sense.
all actually coming from the same area of the brain.
Oh,
But go
thank
ahead.
you for saying that. Because when I was a kid and I was exposed to Greek mythology, I was like, oh, I'm like Apollo. Because Apollo gets all of that, right?
Yes.
So, so I've always known it's possible, not even just out of love for humans, which I feel a lot of love for people in general, but just I know it's possible to change.
Yeah.
Even though change is the hardest thing for humans, even though
Yep.
change is the one thing you can count on. And I'm very excited about this time we're in right now because people are getting shaken up, whether they want to or not, right? And
Yes.
so we're
They're
being asked
starting
to
to notice they're
change.
in the mud,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
you
And
know?
I'm like, I'm here. Harmonium's here. I know we say there's no shortcut, but this will make it easier. This will help create the conditions for you
Yes.
that you need so that you can get to where you want to be, especially if you're in a,
Not a shortcut, but an accelerator. There's a
Accelerated.
difference.
Exactly. Because what we need, okay, if we want to be super simplistic, there's consciousness and there's lack of consciousness.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's consciousness, or the other way to say it is ignorance. And we
Yes,
all
absolutely.
we all have that. We all have that. Um
There are days I wish I could be living in ignorance.
even though we know, Lisa, even though we know that the way out is through the light, through consciousness,
Yes.
the light of consciousness. So these tools that you talk about that you've like surrounded and collected and invested
Hmm.
in learning in and whatever, and the people that you bring here onto this podcast, you know, whatever you can do that can expand your consciousness and raise your consciousness, that is the shortcut that you need to be looking for.
Yeah. Yes. Not the, well, if I schedule with Courtney, she's just going to take care of it all for me and I can just hand it over, and she's going to, not only is she going to haul me out of this mud, she's going to carry me right back to the stream. That is
Yes.
not what we're talking about here. That's not a shortcut. That
Right.
is a surrender of autonomy. That is an acceptance of victimhood. And that is not it.
No.
What Courtney is talking about here is harmonium as an accelerator for empowerment. Empowerment in your healing journey, empowerment in your physicality of your healing journey, the neurological healing journey. These are all of these different elements, and then the neurological brings in the emotional, which brings in the spiritual, which, all of these multi-layered facets of who we are as human beings, and what makes it so glorious to be a human being in this experiment of being in a sacred vessel that gets to experience self healing.
Yes. You
That is beautiful.
It is beautiful. And you said a word that just reminded me the reason why it has to be like this is we are moving into what's called the age of the glory of self.
Oh,
Not from the place of egotism and arrogance, but from the brilliant, radiant illumination of who we are, of our true identity. This is the age of the glory of the self. And this is why the message when you're sitting in the mud always comes back to you. It
yeah.
always comes back to you because in order to be in the age of the glory of the self, you have to be able to stand in the glory of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And accept it and celebrate it. Come on
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
All right, so let's circle this back to Sunday. What's up with Sunday?
Sunday is so cool. Um, Okay, so there's 7 days of the week, right? And we talk about the seven creative planets influencing, like their magnetic rays influencing. I mean, this is why pretty much any culture, as long as we've been humans keeping track of time, somehow manage to get 7 days in a week.
Yeah, it is a
Most
sacred.
cultures,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
most cultures come to that conclusion. If not, they have some other kind of sacred number, but really 99.9% of the cultures throughout time, 7 day week. These seven creative planets are Sun, which gives birth to Leo, the zodiac, right? Then you have Moon for Monday, which gives birth to Cancer as the zodiac. And then Tuesday is Mars, which gives birth to Aries and Scorpio. So what I'm trying to do is point out why we call them the seven creative planets, because these creative planets are then the mothers of these 12 zodiac, right?
Okay.
So when you work with what we call the law of seven, it means your consciousness is at a higher level of consciousness and working at the level of 12. The level of 12 corresponds to the physical world, the material world. This is why, astrology columns are so popular. Like today, if you're this, don't step out of your house or,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
The reason why they can say that and be actually pretty right on if they're good at what they do is because by the time it comes down to the level of 12, the level of the zodiac, Your freedom to move between fate and destiny is become quite limited because
Mm.
in the material world, energy has taken form. It's
Yes. Okay.
dense. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
the level, when you talk about autonomy and sovereignty, that means you have to move your consciousness above the level of 12, right? I'm going to give you another rule. We have there's a rule called the law of rulership, which means that in order to have rulership over something, you have to go to the next level above. And
Oh
I'll give you a
yes.
practical
Okay.
example. You have a bad meal. You're like mad. You like want your money back. Your server's like, no, we don't give our money back. Okay, who can I talk to?
Take me to your manager.
Yes, that is the law of rulership in action.
Okay.
And that law of rulership is true just in life everywhere, right? So you want to go to the level above. What's the level above the 12 zodiac? The seven creative planets.
Okay.
Because the 12 zodiac are influenced and ruled by the seven creative planets: Mercury, Gemini, and Virgo, right? Jupiter, Sagittarius. Like we've we don't need to go through the whole thing, but you get the idea. So
Yes.
at the
Yes.
level, of 12, you have 12 months of the year. At the level of 7, you have 7 days in the week.
Okay.
Okay. So this is why it's important. When you know the day of the week you're born on, it gives you a key that gives you more sovereignty over your choices and how you want to do things in your life. And you're not tied to the fate of the zodiac. So being born on a Sunday is going to tell you a lot of things. One, it's going to tell you your personal rhythm. Actually, knowing the day of the week you're on, it's going to tell you a lot of things. It's going to tell you your personal rhythm. So, since you're born on the Sunday, your personal rhythm is what the universal rhythm is. Because in the Western world where we live, the week starts on Sunday.
Yeah.
So, you are in flow with those 7 days. Somebody who's born on a Tuesday, for example, their planet is Mars, their first planet. We call it your primary planet. So your primary planet is Sun. Someone who's born on a Tuesday, their primary planet is Mars. And so on Tuesday, Tuesday acts as their Sunday. So everything
Oh.
shifts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
That makes it a little hard to show up, doesn't it? I mean,
yes,
how do you
yes,
get to
yes.
work and how do you keep a schedule and okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. Because for this person who's born on a Tuesday, their Saturn day is Monday. And Monday is quote unquote the start of the work week. But
Yes.
they're under the Saturn influence, which is like the end of the 7 day cycle. It's when they want to retreat. It's when they want to
Yes.
reflect. It's when you want to evaluate. It's when you
I'm
want to like
so
make your plans
sorry
for the
for
next
people
week.
born on Tuesday. That makes things I mean, listen, and I hate keeping well, this explains a lot about I honest to God don't I can't tell you what day of the week it is ever. It is just a continuous
Right.
flow of energy, not even time. It's just a continuous flow of energy. So,
Well, that's how it is.
like,
It's you're moving from the energy of the planetary influences from one to the other to the other to the other. So, like Saturday is going to be your natural day to want to rest, retreat, solitude, that kind of stuff.
yes, and it
Clean
typically is.
house,
Yes,
organized
yes, yes,
structure, whatever. Friday is your
yes.
day to go out. But check this out. Let's say somebody's born on a Saturday. Saturday is their personal Sunday. That means their personal Saturn day is on Friday. Imagine being in junior high and high
Oh,
school and
oh, and you're
college.
like, no, I'm not going to the
Yeah,
dance. I'm not going to.
exactly.
I have
So
no interest in any of it.
everybody probably has a friend like that. And that person probably was either born on a Saturday or something like that.
I need to check my son. I can't remember the day. Like I said, I don't remember days of the week. So I'm lucky to remember even my birthday. But I'm gonna have to check to see what day of the week he was born on because he never wanted to go to anything like that ever, ever. And those are notoriously on Friday nights.
That's so funny. Yeah, or it could be his moon day where he wants to be cozy and home. Like there's a few. So just even knowing your personal week in terms of timing helps you understand why your personal flow is the way it
Absolutely.
is. And then you can stand in it. You don't have to adjust to the people around. You can like
Right.
honor your needs and not feel bad about it, not feel self-conscious about it, not feel embarrassed about it, and then you can be in your power and your life can work for you so much better. So
You have an explanation as to how and why you can embrace your natural state of flow.
yeah, yeah,
I that's beautiful.
isn't it? And then it shows you the strengths you came in with just from this one primary planet. I mean, we have our own, planetary chart and this and that. And I do an incarnation chart. This is part of what we call the practical application of the wisdom. I'd said there's like the healing, the yogic, and there's the
Yeah.
practical. So all this goes under the laws of nature that governs nature and humans and the divine. And yeah, but it'll tell you what your strengths are, what your challenges are, your health susceptibilities, all of this kind of stuff that if you know it right off the bat, you can start living your life that way and accumulating
Yeah.
tools and techniques, and you can just be in harmony with that. This practical application shows you literally how to be in harmony with yourself and with life around you within time and space. It is invaluable and it is always accurate.
Holy cow. All right, listeners, this is called harmonium. Harmonium. I'm going to say it again. Harmonium. How can you establish harmony, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, in your mind, body, soul,
Yeah,
life? Life 360. How can you
yeah.
absolutely?
And this is just the tip of the iceberg. This whole wisdom, I don't even know what to call it because it's living and it's from the past and it's in the present and it's like it's infinite, this wisdom. It's divine wisdom. It's divine wisdom and it's infinite. And it's part of the what we call the lineage of light. The egregore is called Lumen de Lumine. It's the one light that all the masters have ever served, and it's the one light from which all masters have ever come. So this is like a legit lineage. It's everything about it is legit. It's pure, it's authentic, it's legit. And the deeper you get into it, the more the more you get what you need. You know that handbook that they say you never get a handbook when you come to life? The handbook, I've found it, Lisa. The handbook is in this divine
You're like, I
spiritual
swear to God, it's
wisdom.
right here.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. There was a so I'll tell you this. I'm born on a Tuesday. So
I'm so
my
sorry.
so my primary planet is Mars. One of the things about Mars is you can be accident prone. So all the way from being a kid, all the way up until I met my teacher, this Dr. Levry, um, I was in and out of urgent care, emergency rooms, head
Yeah.
injuries, accident, like you name it, like a few times a year, easily. I'm not
Oh,
I'm not exaggerating. I'm not being hyperbolic in any way. There's a mantra that you can do that makes sure that you are not in the space and time where an accident would happen, if that's what was going to happen. Ever since I started doing that in 2001, I've only been to urgent care twice.
oh my God.
Yeah,
That's a huge statement and
yeah,
a practical
yeah.
aspect of all of this.
Yeah, that's why I do this because as esoteric and abstract and as love and light as it sounds, this is practical spirituality. It's practical. It will literally change your life. Or let's say your child's born on a Tuesday and they are susceptible to anger. Well, if you're a parent, you're going to know that you're like, oh, this
Yes.
isn't a one off. This is actually part of their makeup. This is part of the karma they came here to resolve and to purify on their behalf, their lineage behalf, the collective behalf. I have a responsibility to help guide them towards outlets
Yes.
and ways to manage anger.
Yes.
So then you give that child what they need to be successful the rest of their life. Because if you don't take care of the anger, it poisons your blood, eventually leads
Absolutely.
to what's called the knife, because all of that is ruled by Mars.
Yeah.
Mars rules steel, blood chemistry. And then that can also lead to cancer, which can lead to the
Mm-hmm.
knife. Like these things, things we experience in life, they don't come out of nowhere, even though we don't see it with our eyes.
Yeah.
It doesn't come out of nowhere. Life is mathematical. So
Yes.
when you have this kind of self knowledge, then you can take the choices you need to take, right?
This is beautiful.
And so this is what we do when when I have a harmonium client, we'll talk a little bit before, because afterwards people are so zened out. The nice
Oh,
thing
I
about
bet.
harmonium is that even though you have to do the work when it comes to your life and changing and all, that experience of harmonium, you're like literally feel like you're in heaven. Whatever you think heaven is, that's more often than not, that's what people are experiencing, because it's a
Well, when you
divine
strap on
experience.
that rocket to your back, the takeoff is exhilarating. I mean, it really
Yeah.
is. So I can understand that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm sorry, but you said your mentor was Dr. Levry?
Dr. Joseph Michael Levry. Yeah.
I know exactly who you're talking about. So how about this?
Wow.
Um a number of years ago, I had a spinal injury that, I mean, hit me like that, which would be curious to know if that lines up with a Sunday, but it took basically my atlas. It shifted to the right and then twisted forward. And when it
Okay.
did that, it compressed my brainstem, my vagus nerve, and my carotid. So when I blacked out completely, and when I
Yeah,
came
that's a big
to,
downstream effect.
it's a, sure, it's a big one.
Yeah.
But when I came to, I couldn't see, I couldn't hear. I wound up with like no short-term functioning memory, and then over a 9-month period, which is not lost on me, but over a 9-month period, my health steadily declined, rapidly declined, to the point where I couldn't sit up, I couldn't hold anything. I was in a
Mm.
wheelchair and propped in pillows and all of this. After seeing so many doctors who basically told me there was nothing they could do, there was nothing wrong with me, I either had anxiety or migraines or whatever, my sister guided me to a chiropractor who identified it immediately and said, "This is your atlas." So she adjusted me. I could hold for the day until I laid down to go to sleep. Then it would come misaligned
Mm-hmm.
again. So I would wake up, same thing, back to um, declined
Okay.
health.
Mm-hmm.
And it continued like that until divine intervention. Um, at my lowest moment, I broke down, begging to die, begging. And that voice spoke so loudly, it reverberated through me. And it said, "You have all the answers you need.
Hmm.
Within you, you have all the answers you need." And that's a whole other very long story, conversation that we could have. But after that, that same voice said, "Sound healing." And I had never heard those words before. But I typed it out onto my iPad and then hit play on the very first sound healing that came up.
Hmm.
And it was Dr. Levry Ramadasa.
Oh my gosh. That is divine, because he's made a lot of mantra recordings, and that is exactly the one you needed.
And that was the one. So, listener, if you haven't heard in previous podcasts, or if you've never even heard of the Ramadasa, it is literally the chant for the nervous system. It is, I, I mean, when you're talking about a brainstem injury, you're talking about all of your nervous system. When you're talking about the atlas, you're talking about the entire spine. It's just miraculous to me that here you are, a student of Dr. Levry. This is blowing my mind. You're a student of Dr. Levry, and that chant, and it's set to
Pachelbel's
Pachelbel's
canon.
Canon. That is a song that I recorded. I burned it onto a CD because we had gotten that we had gotten this CD for our son, and that was the only music that he would listen to go to sleep when he was a newborn. And it's because I played it while he was in the womb. I love
Right.
classical music, so I always listened to all different kinds. But it was this one song that always put him to sleep. So it already had meaning in our life. And to have this chant, I had never heard of chanting before. I had never um I had meditated, but I had never experienced that deep of a meditation. It was, I mean, needless to say, it was life altering because it all changed from there on out, right? So divinely told sound healing. I find this sound healing by Dr. Levry. It's Ramadasa for the nervous system. It's um it's accompanied by Pachelbel's canon, which
You're
also speaks to
like,
the nervous
this
system,
is so wild. Yeah. Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
the way the brain works is that it has to create these binaural pathways, right? It has to overlap and go left to right and on diagonals front back. And so Pachelbel's canon, without getting too nerdy about it all, is literally written mathematically. It's written in these rhythms and beats and frequencies and sounds, the actual notes that create these new neural pathways in the brain, which is exactly what I needed. New neural
Wow.
pathways.
Wow.
How was I going to relearn how to hold a cup? I needed new neural pathways. It was like that simple. Within 3 months, within 3 months, I was back to practicing the gyrotonic method, which again, I woke up one day and was like, holy shit, I know exactly what I need. I know exactly how to create these new muscle movement memory.
Right. Right.
Created a whole
Right.
program that spoke to the neurology of my muscles and soft tissue and bones and how could they create a new relationship, all while playing Ramadasa over and over and over again to
Wow.
create these synchronicities in the body,
Wow.
to awaken these divine patterns, divine healing patterns that I knew were somewhere coded deep within me.
Wow.
And within months, I was able to reopen my studio and work with a whole brand new clientele, of which I would say the majority were all Atlas injuries that needed this exact same protocol.
Wow.
And to
Wow.
boot, I was introduced, I mean, what really strapped that rocket to my back, I was introduced to a chiropractor who specialized just in the Atlas and used a sound wave to guide the bone back so that my muscles would no longer freak out every time I went to sleep and take me back out of alignment.
Wow.
Crazy. Listen, listeners, I always say, like, things are not happenstance. Courtney, I had no idea you were a student of Dr. Levry. There was
Wow.
no way you could have known that Dr. Levry literally changed my life,
Yeah. No.
changed the
No.
entire trajectory of my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a master gyrotonic teacher that is a student of Dr. Levry.
Who? Do you
Eric,
know?
Erica Hassan.
Yes.
Yeah, we love her so much.
She's fabulous.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
What a small world. I don't care how many people are on the planet. This is still a very small world. And you're always led to exactly the people that are meant to be with you on this journey. And then you elevate each other and you bring more to this beautiful table that we're all sitting at.
Yeah, it's absolutely true.
Holy cow. Courtney, thank you for being here with me. Thank you for sharing time with me. I think what you do is spectacular. Anytime you want to come back to share more with us, please, please, please.
I would love to. I love, love, love talking about all of these things. I am a student
And
of
we just
life.
scratched the surface.
I
If
know,
we
I'm like,
even
there's,
scratched it, I
I
feel
know, like,
like you just told us.
there's so much we can talk about.
I would love that. I would love to do a deeper dive with you because I think that this is fascinating. Even just to go from 12 to 7, I think is fascinating, and I'm a little like, "Way to go, Lisa." Like, way to like stumble into this.
Yeah. And you know what? Above the level of 7 is the level of 3. And 3, among other things, does correspond to the sound current.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the 3 is the 1. So it's like in divine spiritual wisdom, we look at them, there's so many symbols that you can use to categorize and observe universe and life with. But this is one of them, the 1 3 7 12 model. So
Oh, my brain is exploding with questions right now because I'm like, is that why the pyramids are shaped the way they are? Is that why?
yeah, there are
Is
no
that why there's
accidents.
hierarchy? You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like the
yes,
human in us turns that into a disempowering hierarchy when really it's an empowering hierarchy.
yes,
You
100%.
know, like a bastardization of even the word hierarchy. There's
Yes,
just so much in this.
there is. It's rich
Okay.
and deep.
Deep conversation. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being here. I
Thank you
have
for
to have you on
having me.
again.
Thank you. I will say yes right now.
Please, as our parting, please tell people where they can find you, how they can work
I,
with you or any other, because you do certify practitioners.
yes,
So how
yes.
can they find this?
The easiest way to find me is through my Instagram. My Instagram is Courtney Naam Life. And the Naam is Naam Life. Um, and we have a website where on that website we have a practitioner directory. So
Fabulous.
the website is harmoniumhealing.com. And you spell harmonium like the word harmony, so with a Y. A lot of people were like, oh, the musical
And then
instrument.
um
But it's just harmony, yeah, harmoniumhealing.com. There's a practitioner directory. I love working with people, and harmonium can be in person, it can also be at a distance. So definitely reach out. And I also know, there's a vibrational match. So if you want to reach
for
out,
sure.
and I can help direct you to somebody that I think would be a vibrational match for you. If you don't feel like we're a vibrational match, we have a lot of practitioners all over the world. So thank you though, because as you said, you've never heard of harmonium. What is harmonium? It's like these secrets, right? You have to
Yes.
be in the time and the space, and you have to be listening, and you have to be hearing. And thank you for making harmonium, like putting it out there so that even more people, can find it, because we're
There was
living
a
in a time
definite
where people need
resonance.
it.
I am not kidding you. When I read that email, I don't even think I got past like the original graphic, like the first graphic in the email. I went, "Yep, okay. How do I find out about this? This is fascinating. Who can I talk to?" It was
Yeah,
definite immediate resonance. So I understand what you're saying. This is this is very big. You know, it feels massive in the opportunity for healing.
yeah.
And somebody needs to be ready for that. So I absolutely understand and empathize because we've all been there. If we're here where we are today, it's because we've been the person who is just sort of stuck in the mud going, for God's sake, somebody lift me out of this. We've been there and now we're here,
Hmm.
which is how we have this blessing of look back to be able to say, this is what works.
Hmm.
This is what maybe you want to avoid, these little pitfalls. But this feels like in a game of shoots and ladders, it's just whoa, like it's just right. It's the shoot.
Yeah,
Go.
yeah, it is. It really is. And one of the things that always sticks with me is we're at our first, the first time Dr. Levy taught harmonium in New York City. It was at our first center. We were on 7 West 24th.
Everything happens in New York City.
I know. That's why I have to keep coming back here. I'm officially bi-coastal now. I am officially here as much as I'm in LA
You're so
practically.
cool.
So,
Yes.
well, I just love it. I love it. And we're blessed to have community here because we created community here for 10 years before we opened up community in Santa Monica. And so 9/11 had happened. Nine
Mm-hmm.
eleven had just happened. Dr. Levry came here the week after, and he's like, it's time. He's like, the center had opened June 21st. Talk about divine synchronies. I
Wow.
moved to New York City on June 21st. The first day my feet touched the ground of New York City was June 21st. 3 weeks later, I found Universal Force Healing Center and found out that was the day the center opened. They hired me to teach Iyengar, even though I told them I didn't need a job. They had to talk me into it. And then a few weeks later, I'm taking Dr. Levy's class, and I'm like, I think this is the answer to everything I've been looking for. And then 4 months later, I was like, he's my teacher, but like teacher with a capital T.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I am going to learn everything that I had put on my altar that I wanted to learn and more. And I thought I was going to have to, like, I was a kid. I was coming here as an opera singer. I'd been singing opera in other places. And I was like, okay, learn this, learn that. I'd put everything on my altar, like what I wanted to learn. And I thought, I'm going to have to get a lot of jobs so that I can pay all these teachers. And I'm like, and then I found Dr. Levry 3 weeks later. And I
That's
was like,
incredible.
oh my God, I don't need to make a lot of, I just need this one teacher.
That's right. That's right.
And it was amazing. So back to the 9/11. So 9/11 happened the week after, comes in the center and he's like, okay, it's me. I was a volunteer at the time, aside from teaching the Iyengar yoga. Me and Roxana, who was the like general manager. It was a small thing. Like we had rent for the first 2 or 3 months and we had to figure it
Yeah.
out. And somehow I decided, because I'd like lined up my privates and my yoga class I was teaching at Equinox, whatever. And I was like, okay, I have all this free time because I'd set aside free time. I was like, I needed time to practice, I needed time to audition, and I needed space in my schedule so that I could perform once I got into a show, because I didn't want to deal with like schedules of work and all of
Absolutely.
that stuff. So I was creating the conditions so that I could make money doing what I love, which was yoga, teaching yoga, and then have all the time I needed so that I could pursue performance and take that to the next level. So I had all this time. And so when I realized this place, there wasn't even a file cabinet yet, much less a file to put in a file cabinet. I was like, she needs help. So I just started helping. And so I was there. I was like, I very quickly was spending all my free time at the center. And I remember he came into the center that day. He's like, okay, it's time. I need to teach harmonium here. And we're going to do Kabbalah, Universal Kabbalah, and we're going to do harmonium. He was like, okay. And I was like, okay. He's like, we're going to start in a few weeks. And I was like, okay. And then he was like, what else do you need to know? And I'm like, well, what is
What
harmonium?
is it?
And what is Kabbalah? Because I didn't know what Universal Kabbalah was. And I was like, and he was like, oh, those are good questions. And then he told me, and then I was like, I'm on board. This is like one of the positive traits of Mars.
Wow.
Like you get that enthusiasm, that excitement. You're like,
Yes.
you're all in. You're like, let's go. And we did it. We did it. And so we had our first
Wow.
harmonium course, September, October of 2001. And since
Wow.
then, I've been at almost every single course or helped lead or run. And so I've been in over 60 certification courses with him, receiving the transmission every
Yeah,
time
yeah.
and just getting deeper and deeper and deeper into it.
This is fascinating. So, listeners, work with someone who knows a few things.
Yes,
She's seen a
yes,
few things. She's
yes.
been a few places.
Yeah, this is, you know, some people are like, oh, teachers, you need to be sovereign to yourself and trust the teacher in you. But when you find the right teacher, your teacher is going to say, my job is to guide you to the teacher in you. And
Yes.
so it's not that there's somebody that you create a dependent relationship on, but in the frailties of being a human, even when the teacher says that, the students always still
There's always
try
a
to
little
do that.
worship.
Yeah, you
Absolutely.
always
Yes.
like it's because of our conditioning and because of our passivity and our lack of, we're not
Yes.
ready to take that ownership, right? That we've been talking about this whole time. So that does happen. But that onus is actually on the student, because when you have a real teacher, he's going to say, don't put me on a pedestal. My job,
Yeah.
your true teacher is in your heart.
Yes.
And Dr.
Yes.
Levy has always said that. And anybody who's a student of any teacher who says that, if they become into that kind of like dysfunctional student sage relationship, that is on the student. And so we always have to take care for that, because when you have a teacher that opens the door to divine spiritual wisdom to you, that opens the door to real healing for you, that opens the door to self knowledge, it is very easy to outsource what
Yes.
the results
Yes.
that are happening in your life. But even that teacher who has that knowledge, who has that spiritual sight, who is such an expanded consciousness, their role, even at that level of consciousness, is still an intermediary. They're
Yeah.
still an intermediary. They are a symbol of the divine in your life, but they are not to
Oh,
take you away from the divinity that's in you.
absolutely. Oh my God.
So that's
Oh,
Dr.
all
Levy.
right.
That's Dr. Levy.
Amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
just amazing. Courtney, we're going to end on those brilliant words. Holy God. But thank you so much for being here. We're going to definitely have you back. I think this is going to help so many people. So thank you. Oh my God. Thank you.
With all my heart, Lisa.
I've learned so much from you. So before we even hit record, listener, we just sort of opened this vessel of healing. There, it was a definite intention for this session, and I can't even call it an episode. I'm calling it a session purposefully. This is a healing session. So if everybody, I'm going to end it with a little bit of Reiki. If everyone listening, whenever you hear this, place your hands on your heart. Close your eyes in absolute appreciation for your showing up here today for this. I say thank you. And I offer Reiki to celebrate you, your soul, your journey, your wisdom, your honesty, your ability to see, to hear, and to accept everything that you are. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And absolutely post your questions in the comments. We are here to answer them. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
You too. Thank you.
Before you go, Find Your Flow is now on YouTube. Subscribe to Find Your Flow with Lisa Roche and set your notifications to catch every episode as they are released. Joining this beautiful Find Your Flow community allows your energy to be included in every healing meditation. So subscribe and follow. And if you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to share it with anyone else you think would enjoy it as well.